So Dr. Colin Kahl, who means nothing to you, but he is the national security advisor to Joe Biden. I didn't know Biden had a national security advisor. Certainly doesn't show. But he's making a point now that is a talking point among all the leftists, people in this administration, and, of course, the Praetorian Guard media. Listen to this, and I'll explain. Cut 9, go.
The vast majority of Syrian refugees let into this country, and we've let in thousands already, are women and children. Only about 2% are single men.
Stop. Notice how he paused. Only about 2% are single men. Well, why do we care if they're single men or they're married men or they're divorced men? What does that have to do with anything? There was a great analysis done on hotair.com, and they said, no, actually, we looked at the State Department numbers, and 62% are military-age men. 62% are military-age men. This phrase, 2% are single men. What, are we running a dating service here? It's nothing to do with single men. It has to do with men who are military age. Oh, now you tell us. So they lie to us all the time about this stuff. They want you to think, what's the problem? It's all women and orphans. No, it's not all women and orphans. And to the extent they're women and orphans, who's responsible for that? Well, obviously the enemy. But how did we get this enemy? There was no ISIS that we know of before this man became president. I'm not aware of it. So 2% are single men. Good. Tell what's that dating line with that guy on TV all the time? I can't remember. Well, whatever. We're not interested in whether they're single men. 62% are military-age men. Look how they lie and they spin. This is Biden's national security advisor. Ann Richard. Who's Ann Richard? Another leftist who's holed up in the bureaucracy. She's an assistant secretary, Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration. Ann Richard. And she's at a hearing today. And she's questioned by Lamar Smith, a subcommittee chairman, I believe, Republican, Texas. Cut 11, go.
Do you track all the refugees from Syria, including the 1,700, so you would know?
No, we do not track them after the first 3 months in the United States.
So we don't track? No, we don't track. We're proud. What do you think, we're anti-Syrian here? No. We don't track them 3 months and they're out. We let the FBI figure it all out. So after 3 months, they don't know where the hell they are. So people who want to come into this country and do us grave damage, they know all this. They know to hide among the population for 3 months. Then nobody's going to track them, except CARE. CARE will put them on their email list and on their holiday Ramadan list so they can get their Ramadan cards and ask for donations. Right, Dougie Hooper? I mean Abraham Hooker? Oh, I remember when you were Dougie. Oh, yes, I know all about you, Dougie. And I know all about CARE. And I know what gave you birth, when you got your birth, and who funds you. Which is why they don't sue me. Because Discovery's a bitch. And I would love nothing more than to depose these men. Anwar Adwad, or whatever his name is, Dougie Hooper, and all the rest of them. Get access to their emails, access to their phone lines, access to their texts. Ooh, imagine what I would find. Remember this group, unindicted co-conspirators? Then you have newsmen, local and nationally, quoting quoting CARE. Anyway, Ann Richard, go ahead.
How do you know whether they've been arrested for...
I rely on the law enforcement agencies to tell us.
Okay. And so far as you know, none of the 1,700 have been arrested?
That's right. I haven't heard of any.
I haven't heard of any. While she's on the job, I haven't heard of any either. But then again, how would you hear of any if you don't look? But she wasn't done. Cut 12, go.
As far as the stopping of the tracking after 3 months, are you going to stop tracking the 10,000 proposed to be admitted next year after 3 months and the 20,000 perhaps the year after? Are you going to stop tracking those individuals as well?
Once refugees are in the United States, after a year of being here, they become legal permanent residents.
Right.
And after 5 years...
Whoa, stop. Did you folks know that? So once they're here after a year, they're legal permanent residents, meaning they're not leaving. And when you're a legal permanent resident, you are typically on the pathway to what? Naturalization. Which means what? You get to vote, and now you'll know what the Democrats are up to. Go ahead.
I understand that. I'm talking about
and because of that,
the early period.
They are treated pretty much like ordinary Americans, and they are not tracked.
Okay. Oh. Right. But what I'm saying is, are they treated any differently than any other refugees? Do you consider them to be any more of a threat than other refugees or not?
Well, they're not treated differently than other refugees.
Okay. I think most people would consider to be Syrian refugees, about whom we've already heard.
I guess Syrians are less of a threat, actually, because they've fled their country.
Another snide egghead. Another snide egghead who thinks she's smarter than everybody else. She think this is joke? I guess Syrians are less of a threat, actually, because they fled their country. We're not talking about Syrians generally. We're trying to figure out how to separate the terrorist from the non-terrorist. And we can't do it. We don't have the information. So this woman, snidely, well, after 3 months, we don't track them. And, after 1 year, they're legal permanent residents. And, after 5 years, they're allowed to take and then, of course, they can be naturalized citizens. Like those two great citizens that came out of that Russian province in Boston and tried to blow up everybody at the Boston Marathon. And then everybody says, hey, what the hell happened? Where's law enforcement? Where's the intelligence agencies? Didn't they know about it? Hey, what happened? And then the media, for 30 days, they're running around. They're like hamsters on a wheel, just running and running and running. Oh, who was responding? Oh, the Russians tipped us off. Oh, nobody checked the mosque. Oh, they will look at all the tips that they ignored. Oh, we got to have a hearing. Oh, we got to look into it. Nuts. Absolutely nuts.